Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
One of the great baseball players of all time, Yankees catcher Yogi Berra, was known as, he always had some kind of a colorful saying, and he said this: Little League Baseball is a very good thing because it keeps the parents off the streets. Oh, we got to laugh a little bit. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Here we go. Kate Smith. God bless America. And right now, I want some Patriots. Come on, be proud of the red, white, and blue with the Pledge of Allegiance. And a good morning to you on this Thursday, March the 12th, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with, right now, a big spring tire sale. Don't miss out. And they've got all the tires you need at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Of course, also, Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, Randy, you're getting pretty doggone good at that. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you calling in. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks.
All right, buddy. Time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Right there. You couldn't miss them if you wanted to. They're right there on the Burley Paul Highway. Easy to find and very easy to work with. They've got all the best of tools and equipment for your needs to finish any project. And don't forget, spring's around the corner there. Peak. There it is. They've got all the power rakes, all the lawn equipment, all the rototillers, everything at K&R Rental. Again, on the Burley Paul Highway. Number to call, 678-3122. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Windy conditions for today, maybe some rain and snow showers for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. It is going to be windy out of the west at about 15 miles an hour, just as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 51 tonight, nice and clear. Winds really aren't going to calm down much. We are expecting a low of 24 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, winds finally calming down, a high of 55 with an overnight low of 34. As we get to the weekend, we do have about a 40% chance of rain showers for Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies, going to be windy, high of 52. Rain showers going to continue for Saturday night. 70% chance with a low of 32. And that rain could turn into snow showers in the early overnight hours and then rain back by Sunday with a high of about 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. And right now outside the Zeb at the Ranch studio, 34 degrees. And the weather brought to you by K&R Rental, with absolutely the best rental of tools and equipment that you need to finish any job. Not sure what you need? Well, don't worry about it. Just give them a call. They'll help you. 678-3122. They're located at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. K&R Rental. Really nice people. Wheels, if you could just barely touch that button on the feed line. Turn it up just a little bit if you could, please, old buddy. And while I have an opportunity, I also want to give a great big shout out and thank you to our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And you know they get there early in the morning. Yep, they get there at 7:30. Stay there till 5 every day, Monday through Friday. And they have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. So get a hold of them today. And you know, this is really something and praiseworthy of them. Almost 7 decades of serving you at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. A lot of things going on, and I'm not even really sure where to start. Or, you know, you got to really ask yourself, which way do you want to go on this? So, what to do? What to do? There are... Hold on, caller. I'll be right with you. I'm going to finish this little clarifying of our first story. No cases of coronavirus as of this minute in the state of Idaho. None that have been notified to the news media, etc. But we all know there very possibly will be. So again, what to do? I'm going to tell you what Deanne and I think we're going to do, and we're going to go into that list in just a moment. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Today at the Burley Senior Center, we're having shepherd's pie and all of the trimmings and assorted desserts. So we got a good shepherd over there. So come and try our shepherd's pie today. Now tomorrow we're having fish sandwich, and there'll be some trimmings to go along with it.
Well, it sounds great.
$5 will get you all you can eat.
Sounds great, Joe. God bless you over at the Senior Center. Thanks for calling in, old buddy. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. $5. Best deal in town for a lot of good eating. Thank you, Joe Taylor. I want to remind you, too, quickly before we get into our stories this morning that right now, this very minute, Rogge Auction Company is taking consignments for the spring community sale to be held at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds on March 21st at 10 a.m. Do not miss this. Farm equipment, guns, livestock equipment, loaders, all kinds of things. You get a hold of Ron Rogge today, right now, at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. Don't forget they're taking items now. Give them a call, and this is the big spring community sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, March 21st, managed by Rogge Auction Company. Absolutely. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget our friends over at Denny's Restaurant. Hello, Denny's. You know what? You deserve to just kind of take some time today out of your busy schedule and just say, you know what? I'm going to relax. I'm going to let somebody else do the cooking, and we're headed for Denny's, America's Diner. Absolutely. I mean, just sit down, pick up the menu, look at all the choices, whether you're there for breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. And all the delicious desserts and excellent service to you and your family and your guests. Please stop in today, Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and then also another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. It's true. America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Absolutely. Nice people. What to do? All right. And I'd like you to help chime in on this a little bit. My suggestions, and I honestly want to start off by saying I don't think that this coronavirus, from the people that I have talked to, the professionals that I have talked to, not only here but around the United States, have told me that with the increasing temperatures going into springtime and the virus reaching a peak and then backing down because of the increasing climbs, I think that we're going to be A-OK in probably, let's say, a month. A month. Now, I'm not giving you a definitive. I'm not giving you a look at the crystal ball. I'm just giving you kind of a guess, if you will, as to, I think the longevity of this thing is going to die off by itself in about 30 days. Or let's just assume the end of April. Okay? Now, I would suggest, and I'm doing this myself, to get a hold of your pharmacy and arrange for your fill-ups on your medication. Don't let them get down to 3 or 4 pills in the bottle. That is frivolously dumb. And get them taken care of. Get them filled up. I would suggest, if your doctor can write it and you can get it at the pharmacy, 90 days worth. That way you don't have to. I always try to get 90 days, 3 months on my prescriptions, even before we've had these hassles with coronavirus, because I just hate going back and forth all the time to fill them up. All right? So fill up your prescriptions. And I would also say be prepared with food in your home. You know, I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with going down and if you're buying some canned goods, maybe buy a few extra. Be prepared maybe in case something happens with transportation slowing down or whatever, with goods and services slowing down. Just be prepared. And then another thing, have some cash on hand. If you have the availability and the checkbook, and you can say, well, you know what, I think I'm just going to cash a check for whatever amount you want. You be the judge of that, and keep a little extra cash on hand. And the main thing is, really keep on hand some common sense. Common sense. I am 72 years old. I do not see where we have to panic and like the news media getting on all hypertense and going, oh, like a hot wire of electricity. I don't think that's necessary. I honestly think that if the panic situation should have been used, it could have and should have been used a long time ago on many other cases of swine flu, the SARS epidemic, Ebola, etc. But there wasn't anything like that. And now with this virus, the coronavirus, or the Chinese coronavirus, or the Wuhan virus, I'm going to call it what it is. And if somebody says that's racist, leave me alone. Just use common sense. I think this thing, and I'm not a medical doctor. I have talked to medical doctors. I just think this thing is going to run its course, like everything does, and if you'll use common sense and precaution, I think we'll be okay. Thoughts are welcome. 4-3. Maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you want to set your hair on fire. I don't know. Give me a call and let me know your thoughts. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I think there's been too much setting the hair on fire. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. Dino Septic Service. Don't forget septic tank pumping, septic tank and drain fields installed. Backhoe services, oh, they're good. Water and sewer lines installed and liquid waste removal. I mean, the list goes on and on as to the professional services they provide for you. All you gotta do, this is it, simple. Just call them. 436-6526 or 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service. I can attest to that. They've worked for us. Dino's Septic Service with that big truck that says smells cargo on the way to serve you. Dino's Septic Service. Caller, good morning to you.
Top of the morning, laddie.
Okay, we're going to get right into it, buddy. Do you agree or disagree with what I said? I think in preparation, but not desperation.
Exactly. We've been, years and years, our mothers taught us, especially during cold and flu season, wash your hands.
Yep.
You know, don't lick that toy. Don't do this. But
how many years has it been, and Wheels, you got to turn them up just a little bit in my headsets, please. It's not coming through that loud. How many years has it been since you were cautioned to not lick a toy?
Let's say I was only single digit in age.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But no, you know, it's common sense, which the Democrats have found what they think is the Achilles heel of President Trump, and that is fan the flames of this, make it worse than it is.
Yeah.
So I just read a deal on the internet, and it was saying something about the 401ks going down. The Democrats and the left was hesitant to give President Trump credit for it going up, but they're blaming him for it coming down.
Yeah.
And I take offense to that, because where do we get most of our supplies? I mean, we are not self-sufficient. We've shipped our industries overseas.
Did you hear
On China and other countries to supply us with medications and other
Yeah. Did you hear
blame the people who made the deals to send the industries overseas for this problem?
Absolutely. Brigadier General Robert Spaulding was on my program yesterday, and I highly salute him for what he said, and in very measured speech condemned any and all politicians and their total stupidity for what they've done in selling out America and allowing China to process and manufacture so many goods and services that we need, including the pharmaceutical market. And I'm telling you right now, Doug, that, and I mean this when I say this, that this is one topic that President Trump needs to call the president of China right now this morning and say, your days are done. We are going to get our shipments that we have paid for, and then we're going to start processing these medications on our own. But the Chinese, less than 10 days ago, and you know this is true, they threatened to stop shipments of antibiotics to America. And with that kind of a threat, Trump needs to look right in the eye of the president of China and say, you'd better think twice.
Exactly. You think the tariffs now are hurting your economy. You withhold product that we have paid for come to this country. You withhold it. You're gonna poke a sleeping dog, and he's going to wake up and he's going to bite.
We were on this program earlier this week, or it was last week, talking about withholding medications from China to the point where it could be very dangerous for people here in the United States. That circumstance could come to fruition. And when you have a country that is processing, manufacturing medication of antibiotics, etc., for this nation, and people are really relying on the steady flow of medication, and they make a threat that they might stop sending it over here, then I'll tell you, Katie, bar the door. There better be some grabbing of the lapels on the suit coat, and let them know that is not going to happen.
Yes, but also look at it this way. Who's to say they're not going to take that product that they're going to send over, that medication, and taint it with something that is harmful?
There has got to be some kind, I agree with you. There has to be some kind of a testing procedure that is very strict, extremely strict, and somehow can encompass large volumes of this medication to make sure that it's A-OK and usable and fit for consumption. But, Doug, we should have never, and I point the finger at Republicans and Democrats alike. How damn dumb were they in getting this contract to go overseas?
Well, they weren't. They were dumb. They weren't dumb.
Yes, they were.
This overseas have profited greatly from what's happened. The politicians, the American people hasn't, but the politicians have. I just about guarantee you there has been some kickback from China for all this stuff coming over to them. There's been some backdoor dealings, I'm positive of it, that our politicians have enriched themselves at our expense.
Well, okay, fine. You don't want to call them dumb. I will, because they've been dumb in the way this has been handled. They've been dumb in the way they treated the American public. But they've also been, I think, very crass and very under-the-table wealthy by what little bit has been transpiring to line their pockets to give these contracts to a foreign national like China. I absolutely stand behind my statement that I deplore any politician right now today that would stand in the way of Donald Trump, our president, telling China, that's it, boys, we're going to start it up in this country on our own, but you'd better finalize your contracts and send what we have contracted. If there's a Democrat that stands in the way of this, they should be not only thrown out of office, but thrown out of D.C.
And also a Republican that stands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll give you a name. Mitt Romney.
Oh, Mittens?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got the backbone of a snail.
I have never lost so much respect for a person in politics as fast as I did Mitt Romney. And I hope I get an opportunity, I really mean this, to let my feelings be known to his family, because I absolutely think that he has been nothing more than a backstabber. Caesar et tu, Brutus, same thing.
Exactly. Well, look at his niece, the head of the RNC.
Yeah.
She's called him out on the carpet several times.
Yeah, I don't think Ronna McDaniel is not going to get a real, strong, warm welcome at Thanksgiving.
Well, she needs to take Mitt Romney out to behind in the woodshed and have a talk with him.
Well, I've got
He's going to be on the Republican Party. He needs to be a conservative. I am so glad that he did not become president, because I'm afraid had he become president, this country would have been worse off than it was.
Absolutely. Doug, I got to wrap up and do a commercial, but tell us all about the senior centers.
Everybody, let's do what we can for the senior centers. Let's support them. Let's go eat there. Donate to them if you can. But remember, if you go eat at a senior center, you'll leave with a full stomach and a full heart.
I love it, man. That's it. Doug, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. All right. Hey, don't forget, coming up this Saturday, March 14th, the Great Big Castle Estate Auction over in Buell. It's at 1443 East, 4300 North of Buell. Excuse me. And look for the auction signs, and lunch will be available for this estate auction. They're going to have trailers and boats and pickups, and they're going to have furniture and household items, really some neat stuff, including an oak pedestal dining table with extra leaves and 6 chairs, shop equipment, lawn and garden items, collectibles and antiques, all of this coming up this Saturday, the 14th, over at the Castle Estate Auction over by Buell, 1443 East, 4300 North. For more information, call my buddy Joe Bennett, 539-0111. Bennett Boys Auction Service, no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all, absolutely. All right, calls are welcome. Come on, folks. This is an issue that we need to talk about. And I don't know what kind of preparedness or caution you're using or going to employ, but I just honestly think that we don't have to live and hermitize ourselves in our homes and lock the doors, draw down the shades, and go, oh, woe is me. I don't believe that at all. There's things I'm going to go to. There are events that, if they're still open, I'm going to go to. I'm going to be a part of. If I want to go out to eat, I'm going to go out to eat. I'm not going to be self-serving to a problem that I don't think is that big a problem. And when I say not that big a problem, I use the flu as the balancing on the scales. I didn't stay home. And I didn't cry the blues, oh, woe is me, in worry of obtaining, catching, or having the flu. And I'm going to treat this the same way. Now, the World Health Organization comes out and says, it's a pandemic. Well, really? So is the flu. And by the way, the word pandemic means an epidemic that covers a large region. Well, that is the meaning of the word pandemic. Well, so does the flu. Okay? And for that matter, so does the common cold. But this Chinese virus, this Wuhan coronavirus, and I want to say this again. while people may be coming down with the contraction of this virus, most of whom will probably be A-OK in just a matter of days, the left is so hell-bent on criticizing people like me and others and calling it racist when we mention that it's a Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus. That's where it came from. You can't change the origin. Nor am I going to change my speech for these absolute, destitute of any knowledge or common sense idiots on the left. Now, closures. There are many. The NBA has decided to shut down, as of last night, their NBA basketball season. How long a shutdown? Not known. Possibly 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case might be, until they see a subsiding of the virus. NCAA tournament. They're saying that they're going to continue with the games. Now, all of this is speculative and may be changing as we speak. They say they're going to play the games with only the teams on the floor and family only in the stands, which I don't think that's going to happen either after some of the people I talked to this morning. Concerts have been canceled. Rodeos, such as the Great Big Houston Rodeo, have been stopped dead in their tracks. Last night's performance stopped. And I just don't know about schools, universities. Many other places are in holding patterns. And if anybody else has some examples of closures, give me a call. Let me know. But I think they're erring on the side of caution. But I don't know if it's really necessary. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. I'm shocked that more people aren't showing concern over this issue and not lighting up the phone line. So give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, Barry Equipment and Rental Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. These are just really knowledgeable people, and they've got a brand new inventory. Let me tell you, they've really upgraded and enhanced their inventory for this year. For all the equipment you need for lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, grading, leveling, I'm telling you, they got the big dudes. And they got the little dudes, too. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators and all the different sizes of Bobcat. Great financing programs, excellent leasing programs. You better get in there today. Barry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I am going to say this morning. And a person called me on my cell phone yesterday and kind of ripped me over the coals for saying words that were similar to what I'm going to say right now, and called me a conspiracy theorist. That's fine. You can call me anything you want. But I really don't care what some people think or say, but wouldn't it not be very, very possible, think about this, for various very wealthy individuals in the world to control and possibly let loose of a virus like the coronavirus that absolutely would put the world at bay? Reason? They want complete control. Reason? They want to see martial law and the citizens and citizenry put into a state of, oh boy, the government's going to tell us what to do. We can't move. We can't do anything until they give us the okay. Lockdowns, confinement areas, National Guard called out, etc. We're in an election year. And the hatred, and you know this is true, the hatred for Donald Trump and his administration and what they've tried to do to put America back on the right rails, the right track, I can't believe how the left is literally gnashing their teeth and wringing their hands and tearing their hair as a last-minute attack to make sure that Donald Trump doesn't get reelected. They know that they haven't got the horsepower running for the presidency. They know that Bernie Sanders is absolutely a crazy communist that would absolutely destroy their party. They have put their faith into a man that is bordering on senility. They've put their faith and supposedly their horsepower behind Joe Biden. And I don't think old Joe can muster enough to get through the electoral process as it is. I'm predicting that this weekend, if the debate between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden goes on, that Joe Biden is going to make so many gaffes and have so many staring moments into the atmosphere that I think it's going to show and prove my point. Let alone what would happen if Joe Biden came up against Donald Trump and Donald Trump's quick wit and return fire on verbiage that needs to be responded to. I kind of feel sorry for Joe Biden, in a way, because he's put himself on the stage and he has no clue what he's going to talk about. He seems like a lost man. He seems like somebody that, okay, we're going to go down for breakfast, and then maybe we're going to go and take a walk through the park, and then about noontime I'll sit on the back porch for a while. Honestly, when you look at his eyes, and I said this yesterday, you look into Joe Biden's eyes and his face, and you're seeing kind of a real vacant flickering that he doesn't know what he's going to say, he doesn't know what he's going to do, and he doesn't know how he's going to act. And when he's acted lately, he has shown vengeance to people that he really should pander to get their votes. He's yelled and screamed and cursed at people, calling them fat, telling them to go vote for Donald Trump. He doesn't want their vote, telling them they're full of, you know what. I'm not making this up. It's all fact. The man is not qualified or capable to be the president of the United States. God help us all. But what's really important, caller, I'm coming, but what's really important in this election, and I'm certainly not giving any merit to the Democrats, but they are going to have to really be careful about handpicking a vice president for either candidate, whether it's Biden or whether it's Bernie. Because I think because of age, dementia, heart problems, and just getting old, the person they pick might end up being president. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Like that old saying, the lights are on, but nobody's home.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got problems.
When you...
This Rudy Gobert, that's the center for the Utah Jazz.
Yes.
He's got this virus, they said.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about this, I mean, I don't know what all the cities that they've played in over the last 2 weeks and all the teams that they've played against, but all the places that they've eaten out and every place that they've gone, I mean, you know, it's like, wow, you know, it could really be spread around.
Okay, but stop right there. And you sound like a man of great common sense. Let's not even mention the coronavirus. Let's not even mention it. Let's just say it's a strain of the flu. Or go back into some of the other issues that we've had in this country, SARS, swine flu, bird flu, all of these things. Tell me, please, what is the big difference with the exposure factor?
Well, I understand. You know, it's no different than regular flu. But I'm just saying, you know, I mean, I mean, it could be spread far and wide.
How many people do you come in contact with every day?
We stay home and we work a job, we eat home, we do stuff like that. But for these people that get out and travel all over and go all over.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And you're making a very common sense approach to this issue as to one person and all the contacts they have, whether they're in a restaurant, whether they go to a doctor's office, a library, whether they're on the basketball court, whether they intermingle with fans, or whether they have a press conference. I mean, like you said, the list goes on and on. But are we all going to pull the flap on the tent down and just huddle in fear, or are we going to live our lives?
No, I know our family's living our life, Spring break's coming. We're sending some of them to San Diego. They want to go see the ocean. So
good for you. Good for you.
That's what's going on for spring break.
And I love that area, so if there's room in the back seat by the luggage, put me in there.
All right.
All right. God bless you. Thank you for your call. We had a little delay there. I was having a hard time hearing him. I apologize. Very nice man. Appreciate that very much. Come on, callers. Give me a jingle. I just think there's too much scare in the world. I think there's too much to make us all cringe. Go to the corner of darkness and sit there with a flashlight and go, woe is me. I'm so afraid. Do you really want to live like that? And this caller brought up a really good point. This Gobert from the Utah Jazz and other ball players, everybody's probably been exposed to it. You might be exposed to it. You might have been exposed to it. You might have been someplace. You might have touched something. I mean, look around you. We all work with people. We're people persons. We shake hands and we say, hey, good old boys, we're going to get together. We're maybe going to have a card party, or maybe we're going to go and out to eat with friends, or maybe we're going to go to a church service, or maybe we're going to go to a school play, whatever. The list goes on and on and on where there could be some kind of an exposure. Same as the flu. Or any other, maybe a cold, whatever. We are all exposed every day to so-called sinister things. Are we just going to live in the house, lock the doors, and sit there on our knees in terror? I can't live that way. Don't want to live that way. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'm really surprised more people haven't voiced their opinion on this, and also perhaps even criticized me about my saying that this could be a very leftist plot, again, to hurt Donald Trump. They couldn't do it through impeachment. They couldn't do it through the Mueller report. They couldn't beat him at the polls. So maybe they're trying to employ something else. Calls are welcome, and we'll do the weather quick. And the weather brought to you by, of course, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And the number to call, 261-4757. I can't stress enough that it's very, very important to take care of your hearing health. And if you notice that you're going, huh? What? What'd you say? Hey, repeat that, please. Maybe you got a little hearing problem. Well, maybe it's more than a little problem. Well, I urge you to call for a hearing screening to Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. They're right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and Dr. Christine Pickup and her staff are excellent. They can help you. They will help you. Call for an appointment today, 261-4757. That number again, 261-4757, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Windy conditions for today, maybe some rain and snow showers for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. It is going to be windy out of the west at about 15 miles an hour, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 51 tonight, nice and clear. Winds really aren't going to calm down much. We are expecting a low of 24 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, winds finally calming down, a high of 55 with an overnight low of 34. As we get to the weekend, we do have about a 40% chance of rain showers for Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies, going to be windy, high of 52. Rain showers going to continue for Saturday night. 70% chance with a low of 32. And that rain could turn into snow showers in the early overnight hours and then rain back by Sunday with a high of about 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Gina, thank you. And brought to everybody by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And again, I urge you to take care of your hearing health. Let them help you. That's what they're there for. Number to call for an appointment, 261-4757. And wonderful people serving you, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Your turn. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a jingle. By the way, unless I missed some of the stories in the newspaper, which in the Times News, easily to miss, or in other publications or papers or other stations or television, whatever, where's Idaho's delegation in speaking out about some of these problems? Oh, where can Mike Crapo be? Oh, where is Jim Risch? And where is Mike Simpson? I just don't seem to hear from these people. Crickets. Silence. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, I just wanted to chime in here a little bit. I think that the biggest problem that we have, it's not the virus. It's the media hyping it up and the uneducated people buying into it.
When you say...
Misery loves company.
I agree with you, but I want to ask you and explain this term, uneducated people. Is it uneducated or is it just naive?
Maybe it's a little bit of both. I think a lot of people are uneducated that they don't want to know. They'd rather stick their head in the sandbox and let somebody tell them what to do, what to think.
You know, the one thing...
We lost that part. Sorry.
No, go ahead, please. I thought you were finished. We had a delay there. I apologize.
I think we've lost that part of our individuality to make that decisive decision, not to buy into it. People have got way too much going on that what media coverage they are getting of it is doom and gloom. They're not seeing any of the actual statistics and facts showing that this is like any other virus. You know, it's going to run its course. With warmer weather coming, it's going to be over with.
Yep. You have shown a common sense approach. Now, that being said, there are things that my wife and I are going to employ. We're going to be really careful about when we go someplace about what we touch. We're going to be very careful about washing our hands even more so and taking along some of the disinfectant, the things you can buy in a jug and pull out one sheet at a time to wash your hands with if you're someplace else. We're going to be a little careful about not hanging around anybody that's cough, cough, sneeze, sneeze, all of this type of thing. But I'm not going to stop living.
Well, that's what it comes down to is common sense will prevail. Sooner or later, everyone is going to fall into suit, so to speak, and they're going to open their eyes, the light will shine on thee, and it's going to be like, well, duh, that was kind of dumb.
Let me ask you another question, though. Let me ask you another question that I mentioned earlier in this hour. I want to see if you agree or not. Because of your hair's on fire mentality that seems to be pervasive in the news media, oh, it's all doom and gloom. I think a lot of people, when I said this morning, I'm going to make sure that I have enough medication and pills on hand for maybe a 90 days worth or a little extra food in the house, canned goods, etc., soaps and disinfectants, and maybe a little extra cash. Some people might think I'm kowtowing or caving into this problem. No, because I'm being prepared if other people go crazy and all of a sudden transportation stops because of this sinister so-called virus. I just want to make sure that I'm prepared for the worst in case other crazies take over. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. It's just like driving down the road. You may be the best driver in the world, but we have insurance and we wear our seatbelts for the other dummy that's not paying attention.
That's excellent. That's a good way to put it. Absolutely. May I ask, how many are in your family?
A whole bunch.
A whole bunch. Have you sat down and talked to the family about this, or have you addressed certain issues and said, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it? Have you done that?
You know, we kind of had a plan from the get-go just because I'm kind of one of those guys that I only get paid once a month, so we buy our groceries and supplies for at least a month because that's what we've learned to live on. You know?
Yeah.
Now, that being said, we always have usually a pretty good supply of everything that we're going to really need because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
The motor goes out in my pickup, it may cost my whole check just to get my motor fixed.
Yeah.
And so we may have to run 2 months before I get another check.
Mm-hmm. But what I like about what you said is that you're organized, you're prepared, and you're ready. I don't trust all of a sudden somebody saying, well, the transportation industry is going to stop delivering this, that, or the other, or we're going to close all these stores, or we're going to do this, that, and the other. You never know. And so what little bit I can do to prepare, and I think, honestly, 30 days, I think in 30 days towards the end of April, we're going to be looking back on this coronavirus and saying, really, we put ourselves through all this garbage for this? Honestly, I think that's going to happen.
I agree with you wholeheartedly there. And in fact, I really haven't gave it much thought. You know, I'm looking forward to spring branding. They're just around the corner. So.
Well, I really appreciate your call. God bless you, and thanks for keeping everything where it should be, above board, and I thank you so much. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, sir. There's a guy. You see, just keep your head on straight. Think. Look ahead a little bit. Okay, so there's a problem right now with the Wuhan virus, the Chinese virus called coronavirus. Oh, the leaves are shaking off the trees. The news media gets on, and just like they did an hour ago at 8 o'clock, oh, the very stern warnings. This is going bad. This is closing and everything. Wait a minute, back up the bus, Gus. I still put my faith in the good Lord above. And there's a 4-letter word that if you're really worried and really shaking and trembling and sweating, that maybe you should employ. That 4-letter word is pray. Pray. Let's not forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, with the big spring tire sale going on right now. Holy moly, have they got all your tires for all your driving needs. I urge you to stop in. They've got all the pickup tires, SUV tires, car tires. They've got them all. And all of these people that work at your Les Schwab Tire Centers, they have been, they majored in tireology. They know tires. They know the tread designs. They've got all the sizes. They know what's best for your driving conditions. What are you waiting for? You stop in and you see them today. They are the best at what they do. Also the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this and the best in service. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I've only got a minute and a half. Go ahead, please.
Well, it's funny because my wife does a lot of research for me, and she was telling me the other day about something about prayer. And I know that Joe Biden doesn't pray, because if you pray 12 minutes a day or more, your brain is healthier, and you have way less chance of becoming senile or having dementia. And so, you know, prayer is not only good for you, your soul, but it's good for your brain. It keeps your brain healthy. And so it's an amazing thing. And she was reading me 6 pages of this, but it's a simple thing. And I got to thinking, well, do I pray over 12 minutes a day? And I don't know.
But during the course of a day, I talk to my Heavenly Father about a lot of things, and then, of course, if I, make mistakes or cuss, I have to, I have to repent. But, the world would be a better place if everybody prayed and their brains would be healthier.
Maybe this will be an opportunity for us to open up our hearts, open up our minds, get down on our knees and get our pants dirty a little bit and say to the good Lord, we certainly hope He will show us the right way and give us guidance. I am absolutely not going to listen to humankind on this. I'm going to listen to the divine guidance that's provided to everybody if we just get down on our knees and ask for it. And that's the way I feel. Quickly, I've got 10 seconds, and that's it.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we turn away from God, we just don't even realize all of the things we're turning away from, and there's more than what I'm bringing up now, of course, and there's more than what we were raised to believe. I tell you what, man, your health is everything. If you don't have it, you're done.
I agree. I got to wrap it up right there and head for the news from CBS so we can listen to these people set their hair on fire. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, good morning and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations right now with a big, huge spring tire sale. Bit my tongue. Spring tire sale that came out better that time. And I urge you to stop in and see them today, along with some of our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Oh, boy, listen to this. The Ripping Good Spring Community Sale is starting to be organized, and they're taking consignments through Rogge Auction Company. Spring Community Sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds is going to be on March 21st starting at 10 a.m., and you can get your consignments in there right now. You better get a hold of Ron Rogge at 431-6187 or Cade Rogge at 431-0074. They will take and help you with your consignments for the Spring Community Sale at the Minidoka County Fairgrounds, March 21st at 10 a.m., managed by Rogge Auction Service. You better believe it. By the way, I also want to comment and say a big shout out and thank you to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation with Nick and the whole crew. I mean, you talk about customer service. They were picked as best business with customer service, and I can see why. They do a wonderful job helping you get back to being you. Oh, with all your aching and paining and you're recuperating from your accidents or surgeries. I know, been there, done that, still am. And they can help you and me both. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Number to call. Make an appointment, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Good people. Oh, here's another bunch of good people serving you and your family, and I'm talking about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Hello, Joel Heward and his family and his staff. It goes without saying that one of the worst times in anyone's life is when there's the passing of a loved one and you just don't know what to do. Well, just take a deep breath and know that Hanson Mortuary, they will help you and always provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Call this number, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert with Joel Heward and his staff. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Okay. It is time, and I'm here on a Thursday. Thursdays, we've been alternating a little bit. I hired Sharon to come in on Thursdays where I have meetings and all kinds of things. Well, today she's stuck with me, and that's Penny Main, CEO and President of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. How are you?
Who am I speaking to again? Who is this?
Elmer Scrooge.
Hey, It's nice to hear your voice today, friend. How are you doing?
I am great. I just don't believe in getting down and wearing a frown and worrying about something you can't control. I'm going to be up and have a good time, and I got a sneaky feeling you feel the same way.
Amen. Hallelujah. Just wash your hands. That's all I'm asking.
Do it after you pass the collection plate.
Exactly. And don't forget to put money in the collection.
There you go.
That's probably a really good idea.
There you go. And don't put Scotch tape on your fingers and take it out of there either.
That's right. Oh my gosh, what a thing, right?
Yes.
That's probably happened before, but God bless him anyway, right?
I hope so. But what are all the interesting things that are going on at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce?
Well, before I forget, people have RSVP'd to the luncheon, so I'm reminding everyone who's RSVP'd to the luncheon today at the Drift Inn in Rupert. That's just a friendly reminder. The Friends of DeMary will be hosting today, talking about the good work that these folks are doing again at the library in Rupert, so we look forward to seeing you. If we have a couple of last-minute cancellations, we'll call the folks that are on our waiting list, but we have a small room over there at the Drift Inn, so we kind of had to hold it to a certain amount of people, but we sure are looking forward to everybody that's going to show up today. Yeah, a couple of big things just around the corner. So April 22nd, again, is Vision 2020. It's our Women's Expo and Seminar. We host it every year at the Best Western Burley Inn from 9 to 4. This is a chance to get your business in front of hundreds of women. If you are interested in becoming a vendor or a sponsor, you are more than welcome to call us today here at the Chamber, 208-679-4793. And we're asking you to save another date, too, for June 17th. You golfers out there, we had a blast last year. It's our annual Chamber Golf Scramble. Again, June 17th at the River's Edge Golf Course. This is our biggest event of the year and our biggest fundraising opportunity of the year. If you want to be a sponsor or have a team, let's get you on the list now. Again, just call the Chamber, and we'll make sure that happens.
Don't quit now, lady. You're on a roll.
Dead air. Okay, heading down to next week. Really looking forward to this event. Another Business After Hours. It's going to be so much fun. Wednesday, March 18th from 5 to 7, hosted by the Kearney Real Estate Team and Keller Williams, Sun Valley, Southern Idaho, located at Sonia's Event Center. Now, that event center is located right next door to Sean Hing, 113 Main Street in Burley. Again, a chance to learn more about Keller Williams and the overall real estate market in the Mini-Cassia area. Going to be lots of fun. This Saturday, if you like to eat, and who doesn't, right? You can eat all day long courtesy of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce members. First of all, our good friends over at VFW Post 3043, the Veterans of Foreign War, are going to host an all-you-can-eat breakfast from 8 to noon, located at their office structure there at 554 Highland Avenue. Again, great food and a great chance to support the VFW. Bunch of really hard-working people, and they suit up and show up all the time, and they're doing great things for veterans in this area, including the homeless, and so on. So let's get out and support these folks who did so much to support us all these years. So that's from, again, 8 to noon. Again, the VFW all-you-can-eat breakfast. Right after that, you can go have dessert at Connor's Cafe. Connor's Cafe, located there right off exit 208. They're holding an event all day long called Picasso and Pie. And what does that mean? Well, it's an all-day event at Connor's featuring local artists, which I think this is a great idea, and props to them because they're doing some really great things at Connor's Cafe, featuring local artists all day long from 1 to 7:30. And on top of that, the pie part of that is that you can buy 3 pieces of pie. Of course, it's Pie Day, too. So if you remember that, that's going to be fun. You can get 3 pieces of pie, right, for $5. How can you go wrong?
Wow.
So you don't have to cook all day long on Saturday. You can just go have breakfast and then head to Connor's and eat pie all day long. 3 pieces, $5. Can't beat it.
Oh, my goodness. I'll tell you what. I wonder if they're going to have peach.
Do you know what? Somebody told me I haven't been over there in a little while, which shame on me, but I'm told that their bakery department is creating some really extraordinary, very interesting, if you will, flavor combinations. So this would be a good day to, do a little test drive of those. I mean, look, this is how I look at it. For $20, you could get 12 pieces of pie, and you could eat pie all afternoon long. And I'm seriously thinking about doing that.
In my case, I'd have to go to a local hardware store after that and rent a wheelbarrow to get my belly carried around.
You and me both. We could head over to Han's Hardware and have them, get us home.
Oh, my.
It's going to be a really fun day this Saturday, so can't wait for that.
Hey, everybody out there in the audience, you should become a member of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. What do you do?
Yes, and as you know, and we've been talking a lot about this, Zeb, over the last few months, we've grown quite a bit here. We're so grateful for the people who have faith in the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and we're doing everything we can to get this show on the road and really try to steady this ship. And we're so excited about the great things that are coming up and the new members who have joined us. We would love to have you. And as I always say, it is a great day to be in business in Mini-Cassia. We're open Monday through Friday typically, unless we're at an event, from 9 to 5. You can like us on Facebook. Again, we give away lots of prizes and do lots of fun things on Facebook, so make sure you like us on Facebook to take advantage of that. You can head to our website at minicassiachamber.com, or you can just pick up the good old-fashioned phone and give us a call, 208-679-4793.
Think you're done, don't you?
No, I'm quite certain that I'm not.
You're not.
But I'm okay today. You know, I'm in a good mood, and even if I don't get this, listen.
Well,
it's still a good day, right?
There's a kind, soft-hearted part of me that says, why don't you let her try to break even on her quest to answer these trivia questions? So
now, really, did you think of that? I mean, did you really, really consider my frail, fragile ego? Did you think of that?
No, not honestly. But anyhow, here's your question, and I'm going to really give you a break because I know you know the answer to this, okay?
Does this get me to an even, like, win-lose kind of thing?
Yeah, you'll be 50% bad, 50% good. That's good.
If I get it today.
Yep, if you get it today. All you have to do, this is an easy one, so just sit back and relax. It's not going to be an arm twister. Name the honky-tonk piano player on the Lawrence Welk Show that also played many times in Jackpot, Nevada.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm going to go one step further.
The honky-tonk player that played in... Okay.
And I think that your father knew her.
Joanne Castle.
Aha! You did it with a little help.
Joanne Castle. I am so glad you said that. Do you know, and I met her later in life when I was working in Twin Falls. This was many, many, many years ago, about 40 years ago, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
I was working for an alcohol drug treatment facility in Twin Falls, Idaho, and the executive director at the time had connections with some people in L.A., and we brought Joanne Castle up, and she played that honky-tonk piano for a fundraiser for our treatment organization. And she was so extraordinary. And, yeah, they don't make them like that anymore, do they?
No, but I got to say that you can bet your last pair of shoes you're not going to get a easy one like this again.
Okay, well, gee whiz, I feel better. Okay, all right. I'll be more mindful of that, and let me just thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me win today.
You don't mean it. Anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, great gal. Great gal over at the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, President and CEO, and that's Penny Main. God bless you. Thanks for being on the program.
Bless you, friend. Have a great day.
All right. Bye. Thank you much. Oh, I tell you what, Joanne Castle, when I saw her the first time, it was a religion for my parents to watch every Saturday night Lawrence Welk. I don't care if they were painting the house. I don't care if Dad was out working with the horses. Stop! Lawrence Welk's on! And Joanne Castle playing that honky-tonk piano. Whoosh! she was good. I want to remind you, too, I got to get a couple of things taken care of here, and we're going to talk quickly before we go to our next guest about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Oh, my goodness sakes, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And I tell you what, right now, when you see the blue skies and going closer to spring, you know that 4x4 season is almost upon us, and you better get over there and check out all the 4x4s, the four-wheelers. Oh, and if you already have them, make an appointment to get yours serviced right now and ready for the spring and summer. Easy. Call them at 436-4771. That number again, 436-4771. Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Also, over in that neck of the woods or that part of the desert, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Oh, Todd and the crew. Good people. Life insurance, health insurance, making sure that you and your family are protected, your business is protected. You get a hold of them today, and it's easy. All you have to do is call them at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Let's go to the phone line right now, and we're going to be talking to Chuck Driscoll, Mini-Cassia Veteran Service Officer. Good morning, Chuck. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing well.
Well, you deserve it. Tell us, what's a day in the life of Chuck Driscoll like, 5 days out of 7?
Right now, it's wiping down doorknobs and counters to keep everybody from getting the virus.
Okay. Well, Mr. Optimism, thank you. Now, you've got something special coming up in a couple of days, right?
Yep, we have a Vietnam Veteran Recognition Dinner. President Trump signed into law a proclamation that basically said that we will recognize Vietnam veterans on March 29th of each year going forward. Well, on the 28th, at the Rupert Senior Citizen Center, we're going to sponsor a dinner for Vietnam veterans and Vietnam-era veterans and their spouses at the Rupert Senior Citizen Center from 6 to 9. We're going to have Kelly Anthon and Fred Wood speak to us. We're going to have representatives from Senator Crapo and Senator Rich and Congressman Simpson's office there with us. And we're going to have a good evening where the event is free to the veterans, but they have to pick up the tickets at my office, which is at 625 Fremont Street in Rupert. Part of that is so that we make sure that we know that they're Vietnam veterans, and part of that is to make sure that we know how many are coming.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to ask you this, Vietnam veterans. My heart goes out every time I get a chance to do something that can say thank you or repay America's debt to the Vietnam veterans, because I feel, because of my close proximity to all my buddies that went over to Vietnam from college and high school, many of which didn't come home, this program will do anything and everything we can to help celebrate the Vietnam veterans.
We appreciate your support. We really do. They were a forgotten group, and so we're trying to make sure we remember them.
You know, now, Chuck, this dinner, again, give us all the parameters as to what's going on and the dinner and everything, and I will keep plugging this every day on the air.
Okay. It will be at the Rupert Senior Citizen Center on March 28th from 6 to 9 p.m., it's for Vietnam veterans or Vietnam-era veterans and their spouses or significant other. And again, it's free, but the tickets need to be picked up at the Veterans Service Office at 625 Fremont Avenue here in Rupert.
Okay, and that's coming up on March 28th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Chuck, while I have you on the phone, anything else that needs to be mentioned or verified or given to the public while I have you on the air?
Well, there's a big event coming up at the end of April. On Saturday, April 25th, they are going to dedicate the first national cemetery in Idaho.
Oh.
The Snake River Canyon National Cemetery. This is a Veterans Administration cemetery, and it's at
1385 East Elm Street in Buell, Idaho. And there's going to be a grand opening, and there'll be a lot of politicians there and a lot of people there on Saturday, April 25th at 11 a.m.
Now, this may seem like a very naive question, but has this need been created? How come this selection of this site?
The Congress put into effect a rural initiative to put cemeteries closer to the veterans. Up till now, there hasn't been a federal or a national cemetery for veterans in Idaho. We have a state cemetery, but not a national cemetery. And the difference between a state and a national cemetery is really kind of small in some ways, but the veteran and their spouse can be interred for free at the veteran national cemetery, but not at the state cemetery.
You know, Chuck,
the veteran goes for free at the state cemetery.
I see. Last night on TV, and I'm so glad I got you on the air this morning, but last night on television I had a chance to witness an interview with a 99-year-old former Marine pilot that was heavily involved with all of his flights during the Japanese War in World War II. And those individuals of World War II, they are diminishing in number fast every day. It just doesn't seem like we say thank you enough to our servicemen, do we?
No, we don't, but it's a lot better than it was 40 years ago. And it's changed drastically since then. And what we try to do through our office and through the veterans organizations that I'm affiliated with is we try to make sure that nobody gets to forget.
Amen. You know? Wheels, I need you to turn Mr. Driscoll up. He's way too low. Please turn him up a little bit louder. Chuck, if people have questions about their service and about being a veteran or anything, are you there at this number, 678-3599, on a daily basis? What are your hours that maybe you can help somebody?
I'm here Monday through Thursday, 11 to 5.
Okay. And I got to get you back on the air prior to that event in April. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a recognition dinner for Vietnam veterans, and that's going to be at the Rupert Senior Center on March 28th from 6 to 9. Chuck, anything I forgot, go ahead and fill it in.
No, we just appreciate the community support that we get, and we really do appreciate it.
Well, God bless you, man, and please know you don't even have to ask. You just call me up anytime, and we'll get you on the air.
Thanks, Zeb. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you very, very much. Very nice, man. Chuck Driscoll, Mini-Cassia Veteran Service Officer. Thank you very, very much. What else have I've got to tell you about this real quick. Hold on just a second. Sale that's going on this Saturday. Stand by, everybody. I got to go through my well-organized stack of papers. It's the Castle Estate Auction managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Oh, yeah. It's going to be at 10 o'clock this Saturday, March 14th. Located over in Buell, Idaho at 1443 East, 4300 North. Almost messed it up, and I did. All you have to do is look for the auction signs and be there at 10 o'clock this coming Saturday. Lunch available on the grounds, and they're going to have all kinds of things, pickups and trailers and boats and a ATV mule and handmade craft and items, lots of furniture, and of course collectibles and antiques, miscellaneous items, fishing equipment. It's all going to be there at this big sale Saturday, March 14th at 10 a.m. The Castle Estate Auction at 1443 East, 4300 North of Buell, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Joe Bennett, 539-0111. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, yep, they sell them all. Really, really good people, too, let me tell you. I had another public service note I need to get on here this morning before I forget, and then we'll go to our next guest. I'm kind of running blind here this morning trying to catch up on all the papers that tipped over on my desk. Don't forget, if you're tired of the wind and you need to plant a row of trees for a windbreak, I know some people that can help you. Doreen McMurray and the rest of the crew with the Acacia and Minidoka Soil and Water Conservation Districts. Trees available. You better check it out. Call them. I'll give you two numbers. And, of course, with the 208 prefix, 572-3369 or 436-4202. You take care of that right now today. Wheels, I hear occasionally a little fuzz. How's it coming through on the line over there? We've had some trouble with the wind and I think some fuzz on the line. How is it?
I can hear it faintly, but it's not interrupting the show or anything.
All right, as long as it's not interrupting the show, we'll take it from there. Do we have the lovely lady Karen Cataline with us?
Yes, sir, we do.
Why, you're Mr. Prepared this morning. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a lady that's been on my program before, and here she is again. Good morning, Karen Cataline. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. Bell, I am doing fine. I'm feeling great, as a matter of fact.
Well, peachy wonderful. I am too, and I'm not going to allow myself to get down in the dumps and worry and take some lighter fluid and set my hair on fire over the coronavirus. I don't believe in it. What are your thoughts?
I have a lot of them, actually. If this is how people react to a very bad flu, and granted, I will grant you that we don't know everything we ought to know about it yet, so cautious is fine, hysterical is not. But if this is how people react and how the media reacts to incite fear and panic, just imagine, God forbid, if something really, really serious were happening. How can you really trust the media when everything is politically motivated these days for them?
You know, Karen,
irresponsible and frankly unconscionable.
Absolutely. I think that was very well summed up. And I'll go a step further, and then you can look at your telephone and say, whoa, Zeb, you're way off in conspiracy theory land. But, you know, let's be honest. Let's be really honest here. We went through the Mueller report. We went through all the hatred of Donald Trump. We saw what Hillary and others tried to do to the Trump running for office in the first place. Then we went through the impeachment. Nothing has worked from the left to try to disengage this president from the seat in the Oval Office as President of the United States. But then, right after impeachment failed, oh my, Karen, here comes coronavirus. And I have maintained that in this day and age, with big multi-billionaire people controlling everything that goes on around the world, it wouldn't be that tough to unleash something like this virus that would be a bigger negative and derogatory against the next presidential election. Go ahead. Tell me I'm crazy.
Well, I mean, we can conject from now until doomsday. Oh, wait, that's a pun. But, or it's a double meaning anyway. And we've seen before that what we used to think were conspiracy theories were really playing out right before our eyes. That said, we don't have enough information to be certain about that. But even if it weren't intentional, let's just say that the virus that came from China, which now we are not allowed to say it's from China, let's just say that it was accidental. It still is the next decision that all the Democrat strategists in some cyber smoke-filled room decided they were going to use to smear Trump. Look at what Chucky Schumer, who never gets held accountable, does to incite fear. So what I think is the important part is that the Democrats continue to use everything they can to smear this president. And I'll tell you, even committed Democrats, I would think, unless it's the very, very, very hysterical, and there's plenty of those, are not going to blame the coronavirus on Donald Trump. I mean, you have to be really, really insane too much, then he's doing too little. They can never give him an ounce of credit for anything he does because they've spent 3.5 years dismissing and maligning him.
Yeah.
So I don't think they have any credibility left, and I don't think this will work either. Nothing they've done has worked, Zeb.
Absolutely. What was the number one topic that the Democrats would not touch? They wouldn't mention that one word, even though they were hard-pressed by some valid journalists and newscasters. That number one word was the economy because they couldn't touch it. They had nothing against Trump's economy. But now that we're seeing the Dow Jones and the stock market tumble like a demolition expert, and we're seeing all these worries over the Chinese coronavirus, now everything has changed to the point where the Democrats are starting to poke their heads out of the sand and condemn Trump and the economy.
Yeah, and that's just irrational because any president who is confronted with this virus, there would be stock market ups and downs. Let's face it started exceptionally high. So I think, and maybe I'm being overly optimistic, but most people are not going to blame the erratic stock market for the moment on Donald Trump. It's only hysterical people whose hair have been on fire for the last 3.5 years who have been trying desperately to drive down this economy.
Right.
And it didn't occur to them that the logic of the economy being driven down because of a virus wasn't necessarily going to smear Trump. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
They have lost their minds. The thing that scares me sometimes is that people do not have, some people don't have a long enough memory to realize how many times these people have been wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong, and yet they still listen to them.
Karen, if you were to describe, and you've been on my program before, and so I have respect for your opinion. If I didn't want you to answer this question, I wouldn't waste my time, but I think you're going to give us a good, straight answer. What really is the platform or the mantra of the Democratic Party that really should or could appeal to families and family values in the United States?
There isn't any. I'll tell you what they're going to try to do, but there isn't any. It's fear, fear, fear. It's racism, sexism, homophobia. It's you have to be afraid of the Republicans because they mean you harm. It's white people are racist. It's irrational and it's hysterical. And people who've already bought into that narrative without a policy are going to buy it. But I still believe that we're about a 70-30 country, maybe a 65-35 country, when it comes to erratic, radical socialist policies. And by the way, just as an aside, I don't really think that Bernie Sanders is that much more socialist than the rest of the people running, except for maybe Tulsi Gabbard, who never had a chance and who they hate.
Well,
so I don't see that much difference. It's really appearances.
I agree with you.
It's how they want you to think of them, not how they really are.
I agree.
It's the same thing as Donald Trump.
Yep.
They've created a whole narrative about this man that is not based in any sort of fact because, as they used to say, sadly, I hate this, is in politics, appearances are reality. And I just hate that because that is what Donald Trump is doing the opposite of. He is who he is. He is who he says he is. And the Democrats can't stand it.
I still think, and boy, I like the way you answered that, but I still think in America today, even with the sleazy, low-class news media, and in general, it's about, I'm going to say as much as 90% sleaze, that's based against Donald Trump and based against conservatives, based against Christians, based against family values. I still think there are enough people that hold those values dear that are going to say in this next election, no, we don't want to vote for a party that stands up for LGBTQ, AZP, whatever the rights are. No, we're not going to stand up for MS-13 gang members and criminal illegal aliens infiltrating and staying and having more power in our country than our citizens. No, we're not going to stand up for the absolute sleaze that the Democrats stand for. I think this election's going to be a landslide. I hope it's going to be a landslide. And I'm going to make a prediction. I think it's going to be the end of the Democratic Party.
Well, I know people who feel that way, and very frankly, from your mouth to God's ears, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'll tell you what my biggest concern is at this point, and that's why I'm cautious. And that is, Democrats cheat. We've seen that if they're willing to put forth a phony FISA warrant to spy on their political opponents, and on and on and on it goes, and frame people for what they did, there is no bottom to which these Democrat strategists will not go. And so in an even reasonably fair election, I would agree with you. I think Trump would win in a landslide. But because Democrats cheat, we have to be phenomenally vigilant, make believe we are 3 points behind or more, to be as vigilant as we can be, to make sure that we have as fair elections as we can. And we already know that we're behind the 8 ball because the propaganda media is in the pocket of the left.
I agree.
The left is in the pocket of the propaganda media. Mm-hmm. Either way, we're already have to work 5 times harder than the left does. So, barring that, I agree with you.
Okay, now I want to. You really are good at political analysm, if you will, and I want to go a little step further. I like that new word. I just coined that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the current status of what's left on the table for the Democrats going into the nomination period of either Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden. Now, I at all will never stand up for Bernie Sanders. I don't like socialist communist values at all coming into our government and or our society. But Bernie, again, from 2016, looks like he's going to be ushered out the back door, and they're going to slam and lock the door. The Democrats know they can't put him in. They can't let him get the nomination. But on the other hand, and this is where I'm going to be really blank and honest, Joe Biden, I think, is suffering from old age and the onslaught of dementia, and I think that he is not capable mentally of standing the strain, not only getting to the November election, but even afterwards. And I want to get your thoughts. I think in kindness, Joe Biden should be excused, and I think at the last minute they need to put somebody else in.
I think they might just do that. They're using, this is what the left does, they use people. They use people that use people as pawns, and they're probably using Biden too. They know darn well that both of those candidates have massive flaws. In fact, I don't see any candidate on the left side of the aisle that doesn't, and that includes Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama. But I think they know Biden is flawed and infirmed, and I don't think he's any more formidable than any of the other people on the left. But they need Biden in order to get rid of Bernie. Once they get rid of Bernie, they'll probably get rid of Biden. They're so top-down manipulative. They like to decide who the candidate will be. They like to decide who they run against if they can. And this is how they play the game. So I nothing they do surprises me anymore.
Let me ask you this.
Maybe they'll put somebody in and hope that Biden can run the campaign, and then he'll step down and the vice president. We don't know. Mm-hmm. All we know is none of them should get anywhere near power, because there's really not a dime's worth of difference between a Bernie Sanders and a Elizabeth Warren or Kamala Harris. They all are radicals, and the only difference is Bernie's just a little more honest than the rest.
Let me ask you this. Now, Karen, help me. I think you're in Colorado. Is that correct?
I am indeed. A lot going on here politically.
Yeah, there is, and it's not all good. But with the people that you know and associate with, perhaps go to meetings or go to church or whatever, what is the general feeling? I mean, I don't want to hear these newscasters. I don't want to listen to Don Lemon, who I think is bordering on insanity at CNN. I don't want to listen to MSNBC with Morning Joe. I want to hear it from you. What are you hearing about this election? What are you hearing from perhaps some of your liberal friends as to what they think?
Do I have liberal friends?
I hope not.
They won't talk to me because I have a different opinion than they do, for the most part. I mean, I have liberal acquaintances. I interview people on my radio show who are liberal, few and far between. As far as Colorado goes, Colorado went for Bernie Sanders in a really big way. So the Democrats in Colorado have lost their minds. There's a monopoly of power in Colorado on the left-hand side, and it's very, very disturbing because they've been passing stuff that is Democrat nirvana, from red flag bills to LGBTQ forced sex education without parental consent. You name it, they've done it. Now they're trying to institute socialized medicine in Colorado, which will drive all the doctors out of the state. So that said, the going philosophy among Republicans, and the Republican Party needs to get its act together in Colorado, is that Trump is not very popular here. And I don't think that's going to remain the case. I think that there's an awful lot of former Democrats who have seen the Democrat Party lose their minds, trying to shut down oil and gas in Colorado, which is stunningly stupid. And all of that being said, I think Colorado could be in play. And what I'm hearing is there's a lot of people leaving the Democrat Party because they don't go for cheering MS-13 and Qasem Soleimani as being more important than American citizens.
Absolutely. Karen, we've got a caller calling in with a question or a comment, and I've got about 4.5 minutes left, caller, so quickly you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, we live in Idaho, of course, and you know that, and so it's amazing how our neighboring states are slipping away on us. We've already lost Oregon, Washington, California. We lost Colorado. Parts of Utah seem to be slipping. Montana wavers on the edge, it seems, because they have Tester, the Democratic senator, who doesn't represent conservatism at all. Wyoming seems to be stable to a point, but there's nobody lives there. Arizona seems to be slipping. Idaho is a stable conservative state, but I wonder if our governor's got any backbone. And I hope that somehow we can regain this because we feel alone. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, if you would, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah, I wrote a piece for Western Journal almost a year ago now called, and I would really direct people to read it if you wouldn't mind, because I write a lot of stuff, but this one had about 28,000 hits on it, and it was Imposing Socialism on America One State at a Time. And what the Democrats decided to do since, in the first 2 years of the Trump administration, since they had no power in the first 2 years, and then, of course, the Republicans didn't back our president up like we wish they would have. What these big money Democrat hypocrites did, like Michael Bloomberg and Steyer and Soros and all of them, is they decided to impose their policies on states and on legislators by putting big money and buying legislators, state legislators. So all these policies that got passed in Colorado, if you want to know what's coming to your state, they decided to play each state individually to do a back door around the policies they couldn't pass in the Congress, like national popular vote and red flag bills, which basically confiscate guns. And I'm trying to be really succinct because I know you got to go. But this has been their strategy. I've been jumping up and down and screaming about it because there hasn't been an investigative reporter who's been willing to really look at and report widely how it is that George Soros and others have been able to push and change policies in states around the country in hopes of basically passing socialism in America inside out. That's what they've been doing.
Well, okay.
We've got to stop them. And as much as Colorado is a frightening mess right now, nobody in Colorado is giving up because they've gone too far. And people are jumping up and down and furious about it. Everybody's furious these days.
Yeah, but Karen, real quick, and I'm going to extend this maybe 2 more minutes, but I think a very simplistic question.
I have to go because I have a show to do.
Oh, well, then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to call you back. I'm going to call you back and have you scheduled for another time in the near future because I really enjoy your refreshing attitude on telling it like it is. So God bless you. I'll let you catch your next show, and I hope you'll come back soon.
Right. And may I ask people to visit my website at KarenCataline.com, and you can find all the stuff that I write there.
Very good. Karen, God bless you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it always.
All right, take care. Karen Cataline, and I'll have her back in the near future. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make some notes right now and make sure that she gets a call, and we'll have her back. I wanted to ask her a whole bunch more questions, but we just ran out of time. What have I got to do here real quick? I'm running a little bit late, so I better tell you about the weather forecast. And the weather forecast is brought to you by our friends at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Holy moly, these are good people. And I'll tell you what, they're busy right now. They get to work like at 3 o'clock in the morning right now during tax time, and they roll up their white shirt sleeves and they say, let's do it. Well, these folks are really professional. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. I mean, the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, and assistance with IRS communications. Oh, boy. Business consulting, retirement planning, everything right there. And they've got 2 offices to serve you in Burley and Rupert. They are the best. They are the professionals. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, here's the weather.
Windy conditions for today, maybe some rain and snow showers for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. It is going to be windy out of the west at about 15 miles an hour, just as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 51 tonight, nice and clear. Winds really aren't going to calm down much. We are expecting a low of 24 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, winds finally calming down, a high of 55 with an overnight low of 34. As we get to the weekend, we do have about a 40% chance of rain showers for Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies, going to be windy, high of 52. Rain showers going to continue for Saturday night. 70% chance with a low of 32. And that rain could turn into snow showers in the early overnight hours and then rain back by Sunday with a high of about 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zebeth Ranch.
Just about the time you thought, aha, it's time to start thinking about the garden or the lawn and the raking and all the outdoor activities. Bang, somebody hits you right in the forehead with more possible rain and snow and wind and cold. Oh, yeah. That's what my grandmother on my dad's side, she used to always sit there, and when something disgusted her, she would go, ay. Anyhow, that's the weather, brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. As I say, they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. They are the best. They are the pros. With offices in Burley and Rupert, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Wow, what do we got cooking next hour? You know, for Cassia County School Days, we have got a return visit from a gentleman by the name of Brandon Clegg, and he is the Cassia District College and Career Advisor. Do you remember about a year ago we had him on the air, and he organized what was called Reality Town for 8th graders to learn about jobs and how to handle money and everything? I cannot wait to get that man back on the air again this morning. That's coming up at 10:06. Okay, remember that. Another thing I want you to remember is if you get hungry like I do, and about this time of the morning, you're starving to death. I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and have a little bowl of cereal, and here it is already going on 10 o'clock. I'm doggone hungry. Well, you can go to the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness, all the burgers. And, of course, with that, I say the famous Farmer Brown burger with fries or tater tots, special sauce, and maybe your favorite milkshake. I'm telling you, it's delicious. All the food is at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Well, how about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland in Burley, and they've got those new pork burritos. Have you had that? Knock your boots off. Delicious. Beans, pork, rice, sour cream, and cheese. Woo! They're good. Or all their tacos, all their burritos. I mean, everything is A1 tasty at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's move over now to 1 and 2 locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. And right now, listen to this. This is fantastic. Corn dogs and burritos for only $1.29. Wow. And they got all the shrimp and the halibut baskets for Lent, and they've got great sandwiches. But you know what else? They got really nice people serving you every day at 2 locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. And last but not least, Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hebron, that is. Food made the way you love it. I mean, those buffalo burgers are phenomenal, and those cheesy broccoli spuds, and the great menu choices, and then for dessert, top it off with a cupcake. They've got delicious cupcakes over there, absolutely. Don't forget, friendly service, dedicated staff at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hebron, and those are just a few great places where you can go and enjoy a great meal. Absolutely. Well, I have a quick moment here. I want to remind you about our friends at 7K Metals. Hello, everybody. I want you to really remember that you can help yourself build your financial security and future. Well, how do I do that? Well, you can do it through purchases of silver that come right to your home. As a matter of fact, my latest purchase came just to me the other day. Well, you can create your security bank through silver purchases, and also it's a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. So please find out more about 7K Metals and silver purchases. Contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Tell them I told you to call. Please tell them that. 7K Metals and silver purchases for your financial future. Right now, we're going to leave it over to Wheels, and he's going to go to CBS. We'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, good morning again, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch on this Thursday, March the 12th, hour number 3, and of course we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations right now involved in a big spring tire sale. You'd better get in there and see them today. Along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. Oh, what a beautiful location. Let me tell you, it's right there on Alfresco Road. That's 21st Street for those of you unfamiliar in Hebron. And it's just 1 mile east of Walmart. 12-bedroom home for seniors where they can just absolutely enjoy 3 meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, local transportation. Wow. And it's just just a big, friendly place for you and your friends to enjoy life every day at Greystone Crossing. I urge you to call and take a tour. Make an appointment, 650-4979. That number again, 650-4979. Greystone Crossing, Senior Living, 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Really nice folks. Let's check with Wheels over at our station. Is Mr. Clegg on the phone?
Yes, sir, he is.
Well, he is prompt and ready to go, and he is the district college and career advisor. And I remember him from a year ago being on this program talking about a great project called Reality Town. Brandon Clegg, how are you?
Doing very good. How about yourself?
Well, I'll tell you what, it seems like your great idea has got legs and is really growing. Tell us about Reality Town. Kind of give us a synopsis all over again, would you please?
Well, sure, absolutely. And first of all, my great idea, I'm just getting into this. I was dropped into this great idea. The counselors that were here last year before me, they came across a product called Reality Town. That's the trademark, the brand name of it, and it's a program that is put on in the local schools where various businesses are simulated inside of a gymnasium or a big gathering spot, and the students are able to go from the business to business, and they have to make financial decisions, prioritize how they're going to spend their money based on their needs, and they're given a simulated experience of being married, perhaps. Maybe they're married and their spouse works a part-time job and contributes a little bit. Maybe their wife is at home with the kids. They might have anywhere from 1 to 3 kids, so they might have a family of 5. But as they go around and they make these decisions, they're going to have to decide, okay, what should I do first with my money this month? Do I go buy groceries? Do I go buy my house? Do I pay my utilities? And so forth, and there's about 20 different businesses that they have to go to, and at the end of the experience, we get to see how much money they have or don't have.
Now, Brandon, I'm sitting here thinking and listening to you at the same time, and every child that's involved, help me on this, do they all get a different scenario that they have to live through?
Yes, about 3 weeks prior to this event, we go with them to the computer lab, and we give them their GPA from the previous semester. And based on that GPA, they log into this Reality Town website, and they're able to pick from a variety of careers that are eligible to them based on their academic performance. In life, so many things are so strongly associated with how well you do at school. It's not a given that if you do poorly in school that you'll do poorly out in the real world, but it's an indicator on many levels of how hard someone can work towards a job. And so student plugs in their GPA, they want to be a doctor or electrician. If that job's available based on their GPA, it's going to come up and they can pick that. And then the folks at Reality Town, about 2 weeks later, they'll send us some detailed information about that career, the average salary, the state taxes at the time, the federal taxes at the time, the average cost for a health insurance premium. And they'll send all that information back, and we then get to go to the students and say, this is your job, this is how much money you make, but let's take out federal tax, let's take out FICA, let's take out state tax. Your insurer doesn't help you cover insurance, but it's required by law you have it, so you're going to have to pay this much for insurance. And we get to see their faces at the end of that bottom line when we tell them what their net income actually is after it's all said and done.
You know, I'm sitting here and I'm just questioning, give us a little bit of history, if you will, on Reality Town. How far and how wide-ranging is it being used in education across the United States? And I guess the obvious question is, this is such a great idea, why isn't it used in every doggone school in America?
Well, I can give you some answers that are my personal feeling. To start with your last point, I would assume that these things could have been being taught in the home.
But as I look back and I think about it my own self and my own interaction with my kids, I don't remember when I actually sat down and talked to my kids about why we pay taxes. I know they've heard me talk about my frustrations about taxes, but I don't know that I've actually sat there and talked to them about the good of the taxes and what, the price that they're paying to live here in Cadgett County, in Burley, Idaho, in the United States. And I got to have that conversation with these 8th graders, and boy, it sure has changed how I'm going to have my own conversation with my own kids. So the adults out there listening, what a great opportunity to come to do something like this, to see how it might actually change your own interaction with your own family. It's pretty remarkable. You could go to www.realitytown. I haven't looked myself to see the history on it, but the folks are out of Utah that I work with, and when you call, someone answers. There's someone on the other end. And as far as where it's been used, I know it's been used in Utah because we had a volunteer here that said they went to one in Utah, and to our credit, they said that they much enjoyed the one here. So kudos to the volunteers and the people that helped prepare this here.
Brandon,
as I was getting volunteers to come help us, many of them said, yeah, I've been to lots of these. I asked them, where have you been? They said, Minico, Hanson, East Minico. So I know that it's being done throughout the Mini-Cadgett area, even into the Magic Valley. I've heard them doing up in Boise. Some volunteers have talked about doing one up in Meridian and Caldwell. So it is pretty widespread, and I think it's just in its first early years, maybe 2 to 5 years for most of these places where it's been started.
Let me ask you this question, and again, I'm not trying to revamp the program. I'm just asking questions, Brandon, but wouldn't it be a benefit to the education of the kids and also this program if the parents could get involved before the kids did it? In other words, the parents were cognizant of what the Reality Town was all about. They were going to talk about jobs. They were going to talk about paying the bills, paying the taxes, putting net income away in a savings account. Maybe it might not be a bad idea for the parents to preview this so when the kids come home, they can talk about it.
I think that's a fabulous idea. And I think that question right there shows how far this thing can really grow. As I was getting volunteers solicited and as I was reaching out to businesses, there was no end in sight as far as the scope of where this can go. Even this one, the businesses that came, many were parents of 8th graders, but they happened to work at ICCU or they worked at D11s. Perhaps they worked at Century 21. And so by coming, not just by supporting their students, they came and they brought their business associates and they wore their name badges and they presented their props and materials as if at the bank or as if at the real estate agency. And so it was just a fabulous experience. It made it more real. The longer students were able to talk with these volunteers, the more detail they were able to give. I remember a few students going into deep conversations with Dan Gammons from D11 Bank about investing, not just how far $20 would go once a month for the next 20 years, but they were talking about investing into land and real estate. So some of these students really graduate in their learning and get farther along, and they can really go in depth with many people. And, yeah, the parents, when we prepare for this, we send out information to the volunteers and the parents that volunteer ahead of time. They're able to look at the slides. They're able to see what the students will be seeing. I think there's a definite way to make that a bigger part of the program.
Let me ask you this question, and by the way, Wheels, turn Mr. Clegg up a little bit on the air. Brandon, is there a way, and perhaps there already is, but is there a workbook about Reality Town that the parents and the kids could work together on?
The workbook that the students get, it comes to the school, and it's based on that career that they chose. And so we have to wait just a little bit of time for Reality Town to personalize each workbook. But when it does come, it's a fabulous workbook. It teaches them about the different types of houses. It talks about average cost of clothing for a family of 3, 4, and 5. It talks about how much it costs to take your family to the movie theaters. And it's a wonderful workbook that at the end of this entire event, and the event hasn't actually ended yet, the students will still get to go into their math class, and they'll have a follow-up with their math teacher looking into this workbook, doing some debt analysis, and talking about deficit spending, even in the family place. And they're going to wrap it up within about the next week, and at that point, these workbooks get to go home with them, and it would be fantastic for all the parents to dive deeper into those workbooks with their students and their kids.
You know, Brandon, I'm sitting here trying to visualize some of these students and some of the changes in personality and some of the, oh my goodness, I didn't know that type atmospheres. But I would imagine that some of this class really acts as a motivator. If somebody is given the job of being a garbage collector as opposed to being a doctor, I would imagine it might be a motivator for them to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to live like this. I want to get better income. I better study harder.
Absolutely. I think that right there speaks to the main point, but there are so many real wonderful nuances that just, I call them jaw-dropping, mouth-gaping moments. You get to watch that all day long, and as I read some of the parents and some of the volunteers' comments, one of them that really sticks out said just exactly what you said. They enjoyed seeing the surprise of the students at the cost of the required items. That was an enjoyable moment, but it wasn't out of spite. It was out of just, hey, I think this kid gets it. I think this student is having a life-changing moment here, perhaps, and I'm glad that I'm a part of it. One of the other students, I was able to stand next to a student that was in line to go enlist in the military. And the line was so long, and I leaned over to the student, and I asked him, why are you joining the military? And he said, well, I need more money. And I said, is that the only reason? And he looked at me and said, yeah, I don't have enough money. I've got 3 jobs, and I'm still out of money. And I said, okay, so I looked at his car, and he had a $1,200 payment for gas, insurance on a Mustang. And he has a family of 5. So I just asked him 2 more questions. I said, when you're deployed and your Mustang's at home sitting in your garage and you're still paying this $1,200 payment, are you going to feel the same way now as that you might then about having that Mustang and about standing where you are now and wanting to go to the military? And he thought for a minute, and he looked at me and said, how do I trade in a car? Follow me over here to the auto dealership. And so that was just a neat moment because it was a sincere moment, and it was a thought-provoking moment. It wasn't anything I had to tell the student to do. It was just encouraging to think, and it seemed like we were having those moments with every one of the students. It was really fantastic.
You know, I've only got a minute left here, Brandon, but please know that you're welcome to come back anytime and discuss this. But one question I've got to ask is when we look at the situation today in America, and I'm not lumping everybody together, but let's be honest, we have a problem with millennials today in large numbers that don't know Khmer from Sikkim about a checking account, a savings account, or a job or anything. This kind of a class with reality school or reality town, boy, look at what it would eliminate with problems with millennials right now today that have a tin cup out asking for everything for free.
I would absolutely agree, and let me offer my thoughts on that. From time to time, I've had the same feeling about the upcoming generation, and it's not a comfortable thought for me, but as I've gotten involved myself with these students and these youth, I've learned something. I've learned that where I had doubt and concern before, there is even more strength and potential there. Mm-hmm. It just takes someone caring, someone to just want to interject a little hope or change. And once that's done, I've seen what was kind of questionable and doubtful become just tremendously strong and capable. So I think our generation upcoming has this potential, and I know that the volunteers that get involved see it because they are so ready at the call. they're eager to do it again next year, and I hope we get more and more participation moving forward.
I am impressed. Brandon Clegg, District College and Career Advisor for Cassia County Schools. I mean this when I say it. God bless you, man. Keep up the great work, and don't you hesitate to call and try to come back anytime you want.
Thank you, Zeb. Appreciate all that you do.
All right, sir. Thank you. Isn't that a wonderful story about Reality Town? These kids are learning in school about what real life is all about. I love that idea, so they don't hit the streets after they graduate going, oh my gosh, what do I do next? This is fantastic, and hats off to Brandon Clegg for what he's doing through the Cassia County Schools. I think that is phenomenal. Don't forget, too, our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Hello, Curtis and Lorena. Now, I'm on the air every day telling you about all their electronics needs, and I know there are some electronic wizards out there in the audience that are going, well, they've got this, they've got that. How come you don't talk about that? A lot of the issues I don't talk about is because I don't understand a lot of the wonderful electronics products they've got over there, and I mean they've got a bunch at Patterson's Electronics. I mean, they've got all the home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, all your TVs. Take a breath, Zeb. And they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. And just stop in and check it out. All the power cords, monster cables, everything at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-6997. Let's go to the phone line right now, and holy cow, there he is with his shirt sleeves rolled up and a pencil in each hand and a phone stuck in his ear. Lyden Crane with Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane & Company. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you?
Well, not too bad. Listen, I would imagine that every day you go to your office at 9 o'clock and get out of there at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon and enjoy a very comfortable day with not much to do at this time of the year.
Yes, absolutely. I picked up 9 rounds of golf yesterday as well as caught the latest movie. So that's about how the days go right now.
And we are really kidding, because I would imagine you're burning the midnight oil until maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah, I'm trying to extend it even to some of those later hours if I can make it. You got to sleep sometime, but we're definitely busy and trying to get everybody done.
Now, this is tax time, and we're about a month away from the big day, April 15th. And what would you tell the audience right now about maybe they're ready, maybe they're prepared, maybe they've already turned in their tax information to be processed? What about those of us that haven't? I mean, give us some synopsis as to what needs to be done and how we better do it.
Yeah, if you're in the group of folks who have turned it in, that's great. We appreciate that. The earlier the better. It gives us a chance to take a look at things, and we can kind of get our lives scheduled to have everything done by the 15th. An occasional call to check in with us, or if there's items that you're still trying to get to your CPA, the sooner the better on that. If you are not completed and you don't know if you're going to make it, the best thing I can suggest there is to try to put together a good estimate of where you're at, and then go in and talk to your CPA and have them file an extension, because your taxes you can file an extension and you have until October to finish them up, but if you're going to owe any money, you'll want to get that paid by the April 15th deadline, or at least a good estimate on it, so that you don't get hit with a lot of penalties and interest.
Okay, now, when you're talking about accounting and you're talking about your company, Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane & Company, the professionals, there are so many intricacies, and I would imagine every year so many changes in tax structure and laws and everything. People today really need professionals like you.
Yes, I would agree with that. Unfortunately, it's getting more and more complicated every time. I was putting together a presentation yesterday, and I just did a little research, and the original tax code that was passed back in 1913 contained just around 400 pages of laws and regulations, and today it's over 300,000.
Oh, my.
It might have said 700,000. So
oh, my.
it's gone up dramatically. One of the big items that I've seen people who have done their taxes personally struggle with the last 2 years is the new qualified business income deduction. It's a deduction that was allowed for certain individuals who used to manufacture or produce crops. But when the new tax law was passed in 2018, it was extended to everyone who owns a business. And some rental activity can also be included in there. And what I'm finding is folks are getting the information that, whether it's on a K-1 or it's given to them on their rental summaries. The information is there, but often they don't. It's a new place to put it inside of their tax software, and they'll miss that or not do it quite correctly. And we can help train you or do that for you if that's something that you would like to have done.
Lydon, I've got to ask you, we've only got about a minute and a half left, and I got to ask you, how do you or any accountant keep up on all these changes from an original number of pages to now over 700,000? I mean, it must be an ongoing education 24/7, 365.
It is, and luckily this year we had an easier time of it because not a whole lot changed. But we have to constantly attend classes. We're required to take 40 hours of continuing education every year, and at most offices there are typically 3 to 10 partners, and we try to each get an area of expertise. And then when I need help, I can walk across the hall and talk to my partner, and when he needs help, he can walk across the hall and talk to me, and we kind of develop a herd mentality, if you will. In this particular instance, that type of thinking can help, and so that's how we kind of stay up on it.
Okay, one final thought. What would you tell the audience this morning? This is March 12th, and literally about a month away from tax day. What bit of information do you absolutely want them to know?
Well, I hate to go with what's in the news currently, but I think we've got to watch the coronavirus here. There's 2 different things I would say. Number one, the president talked yesterday about extending the tax deadline, so we may get a little bit of extra time this year to file just because of everything that's going on. And then as a securities professional, I'm watching the markets significantly. I think that there's going to be some volatility, if we haven't already seen it, inside of the stock markets, inside of commodity markets. Lots going on there. And so there's going to be some opportunities there, Zeb. As much as, I'm kind of with you. I don't totally buy into this whole, the sickness is going to be the end of the world. But the emotions of what's happening right now are definitely going to be felt. And so, sitting down and actually looking instead of panicking and saying, what's my plan when this all blows over in 5 or 6 months? What do I need to do now to preserve my capital and maybe even find some opportunities where people have been dumping things and I can pick up some assets on the cheap?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Lydon Crane, great accountant that all accountants at this time of the year buy more no-dos than any other human being on the planet. And I absolutely support them and thank them for the fine job they do. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company, Lydon Crane, God bless you, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Zeb. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you much. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to run back to the station right now via the phone lines and let Wheels have it. We'll come back with our next guest in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll-free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Good morning again. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and more. Hello, Jeff and the crew. By golly, they're having a huge sale going on right now. I mean, almost everything is on sale. You better get in and check it out. They're getting shipments every day of new recliners, used sofas, love seats, dining room sets, lots and lots of flooring and carpet, all the mattresses for a good night's sleep. My goodness, what are you waiting for? Warm up the car, Martha, and head to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Believe me, stop in and see them today. Like I said, a huge sale where you can beautify and comfortize your home right now, thanks to Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Right now, let's go to the phone line. We've kept this man waiting long enough. He's an American of Puerto Rican descent and serves as the editorial director for the ReactionaryTimes.com. Good morning, Julio Rivera. Where have you been? I haven't talked to you for a long time.
I know, it's been way too long since I've visited the ranch over there, but I'm actually in Europe now, of all things. I've actually relocated out to Europe temporarily. We're doing some projects here for ReactionaryTimes.com. We built a multimedia studio. Reactionary Times TV is on now. And you guys should check us out at ReactionaryTimes.com.
Absolutely. Well, now you know that you're in Europe. It's going to be kind of tough to come home for a little bit because of the so-called coronavirus.
Yeah, you know what? I was freaked out about that. I got, at my local time, 4 a.m., I started getting a rush of phone calls after President Trump made his big address last night, and I was freaked out, and I was like, posting on social media that, I've been traveling nonstop since December, since this thing started. I've been in 4 different countries. I've been, in 5 different states in the United States. I was at CPAC. I've been in Vegas. I've been in New York City. I've been in the swamp in D.C., and I'm perfectly fine. So, probably all that, when I was a little kid playing with mud, gave me some kind of immunity or something. All that sand I used to eat at the beach when, I wasn't all right in the head. But the fact of the matter is, I really looked into it a little bit deeper, Zeb, and it seems that as a United States citizen, I shouldn't have a problem traveling back, and that's critical because my daughter's confirmation, she's Catholic, and at the end of this month she gets confirmed that I was going to be traveling back to the United States. I was just in the U.S. and just got back to Europe 2 days ago, but I was just going to go right back. So I was worried about my travel plans, but I should be okay.
Okay. Listen, let me say this, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on coronavirus because I think it's overhyped, overplayed by the news media, etc., as a scare tactic to get everybody to burn their hair. But I honestly think that common sense should prevail right now. I don't care if you're living in Europe. I don't care if you're living in the Czechoslovakian province. I don't care where you are in the world. Common sense should prevail, and I honestly think the flu is much more dangerous than the coronavirus, but it doesn't get the press and the ink that journalists are preying on right now.
Yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right. I think that this has been overblown. I was actually on RT International yesterday addressing, I guess, some of the comments that were made by McCarthy and Pompeo, and this, they were ridiculously trying to say, some people are trying to say that, that especially the left and that somehow it's racist to label it as Chinese when it's obviously Chinese. But the fact of the matter is, a pandemic, please. You know what I mean? There's going to be more people that are going to die from seasonal flu this year that are even going to, contract probably coronavirus in the United States. The fact of the matter is, the weather is about to get warmer. These things die off. If you take a lot of vitamin D in particular, and if you're generally healthy and you're taking your vitamins and stuff like that, you should be fine. The only time that this has become increasingly dangerous is like with any viral infection. If you're older, if you have a compromised immune system, you may be at risk, but you'd be at risk of, just the regular seasonal flu as well. So I think it's much ado about nothing. I think that the globalists are trying to push this. They're trying to tank the United States economy. This is, it's very, opportunistic the way that they're jumping on this. I think they're trying to hurt this administration and hurt this president and get him out of office in November. I think that that's unfortunately an underhanded tactic that we're going to have to suffer through with this whole corona thing.
I totally agree with you, Julio. One thing I want to get into this morning in the time remaining in our segment, and I consider you to be an expert on this next situation. You're over in Europe, and I'm sure that you've talked to a lot of people about immigration and about coming across country lines and people a little upset with refugees coming in and taking over their neighborhoods, etc. Well, from Europe over here to this country, I think I share my own opinions of I think it's time to put a moratorium on immigration, legal immigration, and also really put the cork back in the bottle on illegal immigration. With the Democrats' mantra, if they get in office, I think it's going to break the bank permanently on what we can possibly afford for immigrants coming into this country. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the moratorium on immigration, I've heard some people float that. I think legal immigration is important to maintain, especially for people with essential skills. I think that we need to always keep that door open because there are some people. I mean, listen, the person who probably invents the vaccine for the coronavirus is probably going to be a foreign national. So, I'm always very leery about that. But, I mean, I've always said that we needed to build that great, big, beautiful wall. We needed to go in and, do like they used to do in the 1950s under Eisenhower and go and target the people who are hiring these illegal laborers. We need to have a combined effort between local law enforcement and ICE to go ahead and identify who these people are, where they are, who's enabling these people. I think those people should be hit with fines so big that they're never going to go ahead and give an illegal a job again. We definitely need to get that situation under control. And I've always said because we have a finite number of people who are in the country legally paying for these services that the illegals are using up. So, I mean, if we have an infinite, like this broken spigot and we just have, an infinite number of people potentially coming into America, especially now, and coronavirus is a part of that too because, with all these scares, people think they can come into the United States and potentially be, get free health care or, if they're sick, they'll get taken care of here. And it's just an exponentially growing cost to the taxpayer. Our cost that grows exponentially until we close that border once and for all for good.
Let me ask you this. We've got over 11 million illegal aliens in this country, and the numbers that are being floated to just open the walls, take down the walls, and let everybody come in, the Bernie Sanders and, of course, the Joe Bidens, etc. My fear is, my goodness, what happens to America if one of those people does somehow get in and represent us as President of the United States?
I think that if let's say Murphy's Law, the worst possible thing that can happen, it's definitely not going to be Bernie Sanders, but if Joe Biden was to become president of the United States, we'd go back to the old way of doing things, the foreign policy of appeasement. China would go back on the offensive, and it would be even worse. The trade deficits would grow, the intellectual property theft would only grow, the cyber hacking and attacks against the United States would only grow. Our standing, our position internationally would weaken. We'd have a laundry list of issues basically the same laundry list of issues we had at the tail end of the Obama administration. I mean, listen, I don't know how anybody in their right mind wants to go back to Obamanomics, especially as good as the economy is doing. Listen, the stock market is not the economy. I'm sorry, people are panic selling. The stock market is a very emotional thing, and when you've got something going on like this coronavirus, you're going to have people that are freaking out and they're selling their stocks. They're idiots. Stocks are a long-term thing for the most part, unless you're a day trader and you're in for the quick flips. And I'm sure the day traders are loving this because they're going in right now and they're buying on the dip. Because these things, what goes up must come, what goes down must come up, and it will. And this is just all temporary. I think the economy is stronger than it's ever been. And I think that, anybody that wants to go ahead and somehow pin these issues on President Trump that we're having right now is ridiculous. He just signed a bill, $8.4 billion to combat the coronavirus. I think that's more than they're even going to need. I think we're going to be fine, and I think people need to get their heads out of their you-know-what and think in terms of logic and not emotion. And I think that, America's doing great. I mean, I think Trump's doing a great job.
Let me ask you this, Julio. You are rubbing elbows now with people outside the United States. You're talking to a lot of European people. What are their thoughts in general about our politics, our president, and what might happen in this next election? Share with us and my audience exactly what you hear overseas in Europe.
Well, the Trump news doesn't exist here. I think a lot of that is a product of the liberal media here in the United States. This whole idea that Trump is hated around the world. Trump is respected around the world, and some people may not like some of his policies because he's no longer appeasing to the United Nations and the globalist sect amongst us, among the world rather. And he's taking care of America first. And I'll tell you this much: these people in these countries that I visit, they wish that they had a leader like President Donald Trump who put their concerns and their values and what's important to them before what's important to the international order.
What are those countries that you're perhaps visiting or leaders of countries that you're talking to? What are their thoughts on immigration? Because right now, with the Muslim problem over in Europe and other immigration problems, they seem to be going through the same headaches and heartaches that we are here.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you a lot. There's a lot more nationalism festering here, and I think you're going to see more of an uprising of nationalism, I think, within the European Union. I mean, and the coronavirus is a good example of that. All this open travel between the Schengen countries and within the European Union, everybody traveling, and it's part of the reason why it grew so fast. Here, the United States in January and February immediately started imposing restrictions on travel. And that's the reason why it's grown a lot slower in the United States, which is more heavily populated than these European countries. Because we got a handle on it early, because President Trump knew what he was doing. He was talking to the top people, the best experts on this in the world. Meanwhile, everybody was like, oh, let's stop being xenophobic to people from China. And meanwhile, look at what's going on in Italy and some of these countries in the European Union where the outbreaks of coronavirus has been far worse than they have been in the United States. That's because they don't want to, because they're afraid to confront the issue head on. They're afraid to offend people. And then at this point, when you're talking about the safety of your citizens, you need to look at this in a sober way and not try to play, the PC police.
We have a caller with a quick question. I hope you can hear it okay. Julio, go ahead, caller. Quickly, you're on the air.
Well, with the way they're shutting down these public events, if I'm not mistaken, they're not going to, on March Madness, they're not going to allow anybody but family and friends. I don't know what they're planning on doing. I know that the NBA is shutting down all kinds of public events that people were planning on going to, and that affect our economy, and there's going to be people being affected. That's going to affect their bottom line. People are going to say, well, I'd like to think that they're going to be upset and say, we're done. We're done with all this overreaction. There's no point in any of this. I can't believe it. It's like they're going to impose martial law on America. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller quickly, if you would, please, Julio.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I mean, the NBA has been and continues to be in cahoots with China.
Yes.
And I think that this alarmism, they were the first major league to say we're going to suspend operations. And I think I would not be shocked if China, there's some sort of maliciousness from China with this entire viral outbreak. And the fact that the NBA, who does business with China, is the first league to shut down is highly suspicious. I hope it doesn't affect Major League Baseball, because there goes my summer.
There you go. One final thought, Julio, quickly, Brexit and how it's changing Europe in general. What are your thoughts now that you're over there?
I think Brexit is a good thing. I think that, having, the entirety of the European Union be controlled, by that central power, I think is bad. Consolidated central power is always bad. It's time for an uprising of nationalism, in Europe. Hopefully that'll follow through, behind the lead of Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage and great leaders like that.
I always look forward to having you on the program, and I want to wish you a very safe trip back for your daughter's confirmation. We're talking to the man that's the editorial director for ReactionaryTimes.com, Julio Rivera. God bless you, man. Don't make yourself a stranger. Come back soon.
Yes, sir. I'll be visiting the ranch soon.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Julio Rivera, and we had him on quite often before the first of the year, and then evidently we just kind of got sidetracked here on my part, and we finally got a hold of him, and he's over in Europe right now working with the reactionarytimes.com, but appreciate his insight. Julio Rivera, we're going to have him on a lot more in the future. Oh boy, talk about being hungry. Talk about great meals. Talk about calling your friends and neighbors and relatives and everybody going to a great place to sit down and just enjoy delicious food. We got to talk about Edith's Cafe. 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. And on Wednesdays and Thursdays, this one just absolutely makes my mouth drool. Wednesdays and Thursdays, they have a prime rib French dip special sandwich. Prime rib. I love prime rib. And I've heard this is so popular that you better get there early because it's going to be gone. You better check it out. Wednesday and Thursday, tonight being Thursday, check out that prime rib French dip special sandwich. And, of course, great steaks, always great specials over at Edith's Cafe. Nice people, great service, fantastic food at Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. I think what we better do right now is really quick get started with the weather forecast. And our weather, as you know, is brought to you by Scarro's Meats. Don Scarrow. Don, if you're listening, time to come over and see us. And, by the way, bring some bratwurst. Scarro's Meats at 331 North Road, Jerome. Or you can go to their website, and you can just check out all the delicious meats at Scarro's Meats. ScarrowsMeats.com. Check it out or give them a call, 324-7657. I mean, whether we're talking pork ribs or all the hams and all the tri-tips and all the different bacons and all the different sausages. Oh, my. Scarro's Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Windy conditions for today, maybe some rain and snow showers for the weekend. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting sunny skies. It is going to be windy out of the west at about 15 miles an hour, gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 51 tonight, nice and clear. Winds really aren't going to calm down much. We are expecting a low of 24 tomorrow. Looks like sunny skies, winds finally calming down, a high of 55 with an overnight low of 34. As we get to the weekend, we do have about a 40% chance of rain showers for Saturday. Mostly cloudy skies, going to be windy, high of 52. Rain showers going to continue for Saturday night. 70% chance with a low of 32. And that rain could turn into snow showers in the early overnight hours and then rain back by Sunday with a high of about 50. That's a look at your weather forecast for 7.
Thank you, Gina. Excellent forecast. And again, the weather forecast brought to you by our friends and your friends at Scarro's Meats. Hello, Don Scarrow, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, Zeb. Don't you think people are going to be fired up? I mean, are they shutting down March Madness and just, I mean, I haven't, that's what I heard. Is that right?
They're going to shut it. There's been some talk about totally stopping the games in its entirety. There was talk about only letting families of the players and team members and university members attend. Now I've heard through the grapevine that they may shut the whole thing down in its entirety. The NBA, there's even talk about maybe even infringing on the opening of Major League Baseball season. And I'm just going to give you my take on this. I think the whole thing with coronavirus has turned into a pandemic of fear, not a pandemic of reality, a pandemic of fear. And when you let the news media guide you and pull you by the nose and control you, our whole society is in jeopardy.
Well, I got everybody, there's no way they can blame Trump. There's talk that Chinese, in cahoots with, you know, elites from America or liberals, or communists, whatever you want to call them, are that the Chinese did this on purpose, and with the, you know, in collusion with people from here and all over the world that don't want Trump to be president.
That's right.
And so, I wouldn't put it past them. Hell, they don't care about their own people.
When I said what I said earlier this morning in regards to the same scenario that you're talking about, I mentioned that it was speculative on my part, but let's be honest here. Let's be honest. Every single story, every single possibility should be investigated, because right now I don't trust what's going on.
Absolutely not. It's no different than the Russia. It's everything. It's a destroying Trump, and they know it. Trump didn't start it, and they know if they do any kind of research at all, they know that he's handled it extremely professionally. And so, but don't you think people are going to be mad, resentful that they can't go watch their teams?
I have already talked to, I've only got a minute left here. Let me respond quickly. I've only got a minute, but I have talked to many people at many occupations and avocations around the United States, whether it's cowboys and team roping and rodeo, or whether it's baseball, or whether it's high school events, or whether it's college basketball or the pros. It doesn't make any difference. All the people I've talked to have said, don't you think it's much ado about nothing when you compare it to the severity of what happens when we get a flu virus that breaks out in the United States and literally thousands die?
Well, it's just like Fox News, CBS, this station, and others. If they were to say we've lost 20,000 people from H1N1 flu, and that happens so far this year in America or in the world, let's say the world. And then we've only lost 26 in America, and most of those seem to be coming out of a nursing home in Washington. And then the other day they were talking about a cruise ship, and there was all the children on the cruise ship were fine, and there was supposed to be some people there that had the virus, but nobody was sick, really. They were just, they were put in their room and had to stay.
Yeah, I got to run, but Randy...
There's absolutely nothing to it. I just can't imagine that it isn't going to backfire big time on this whole thing.
All I'm going to say, and I'm out of time, but I'm going to say this. Let's just calmly sit down over the next 3 days. Do a little analysis and study on our own, and let's see what happens and prevails starting Monday of next week. Randy, God bless you for your call. I mean that. Thank you very much. I want to remind you, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my big spring tire sale going on right now. You can save money and get the best of tires on your vehicle, whether it's a car, pickup, SUV, your horse trailer, boat trailers, whatever. And like I said, the professionals at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, they know tires, and they know what tread design is going to best fit your driving needs. And then you talk about the best in safety with the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and of course batteries. They've got it all. They've got it all at all 7 locations. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pauline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Don't put it off. Please go see them today. Any one of the great 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm going to get out of here. That's the week for me, and we'll be back next Monday at 8:06. We always say at the end of the program, the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that mean the most: in God we trust. Be safe, be sensible, have a great weekend. Zeb at the Ranch, we'll see you Monday at 8:06.